Hey folks, it's Jeremy Whaley here. I hope you're doing fantastic today, and I've got something really cool I want to share with you about banking. I've titled this presentation, Beyond Traditional Banking, The Rise of Automated Finance. And you might be thinking at first blush, like, wow, banking, that just doesn't sound super exciting. But trust me, you're going to want to see what I have to share with you because we're at a really unique time in world history, a time when everything is changing, when the entire financial system as a whole, as we know it, is transforming right before our eyes. And a lot of people, they haven't even realized it yet. So I want to share some stuff with you. And by the end of this presentation, I think you're going to be so excited, maybe you can't even sleep. It's that cool and that exciting. All right, so let's jump in. And I want to start off by talking a little bit about the timeline of what happened in the world of banking and specifically the world of disruption. Back in 1913, the Federal Reserve was born, and the Federal Reserve totally transformed the landscape. If you recall, which I'm sure you don't because it was, more than 100 years ago, but before 1913, every bank was an independent institution, and if they went insolvent, if they went broke, they just were gone. They were toast. The Federal Reserve came in, they centralized all that, and we started to create what really became the backbone of the last 100+ years of financial institutions. And it all started here with a central bank that we know as the Federal Reserve. Well, fast forward a little bit, and those little things we call credit cards came into existence. The first one was the Diners Club card. And what was unique about the Diners Club card? Well, for the first time in history, you didn't have to actually have the money with you. The Diners Club would keep a running tally for you. And if you had good credit, they deemed you worthy of having the Diners Club card. You could swipe it at a restaurant that would take it, and they would literally send you the bill later. And the credit card was born. And of course, that was 1950. Fast forward, look at where we are with credit cards today, okay? Now, moving down the timeline just a little bit, 1971, something major happened. Richard Nixon, Ricky, they like to call him. And what did he do? He took us off the gold standard without the approval of the American people, without the approval of Congress. Took us off the gold standard. And that changed everything in the world of banking and in the world of finance, because for the first time in a long, long time, our U.S. dollar was not backed by the gold standard. Instead, it was what we know as a fiat currency. And that transformed everything in the United States and for the world. And it was only 2 years later that we saw the next big transformation with the SWIFT system. Now, you may not even know about SWIFT, but SWIFT globalized money. It globalized the transfer of money from the United States to Europe and Africa and all around the world. It all runs through this system of globalized finance that we call the SWIFT system. That happened in 1973. Well, fast forward to the 1980s and 1990s, we saw digital banking come online. We saw ATM machines and debit cards and Visa debit cards and online banking. All this stuff has completely changed what we understand about money and what we understand about the banking system. And of course, the big one that came along in 2009, in many ways kind of snuck in under the radar, is this thing that we call Bitcoin. And maybe you heard about it. You heard at the time that Bitcoin was going to change our money. But what I've been preaching for all these years is crypto and blockchain. It's not about the currency. People get caught up in this word currency. Oh, it's cryptocurrency. No. It's not about the currency part of crypto. That's not the game changer. The game changer is the technology underneath all of it. And here we are 15 years later, and all the promises that Bitcoin brought to us are starting to come into fruition. And that's one of the things that's changed the landscape of banking. So here's the reality about all of this. The truth is, every one of these shifts felt controversial at the time. Every one of these faced resistance at the time. Every one of them, somehow they redefined how money moves between two parties, between different entities, institutions, etc. And now here we are in 2026 when I'm recording this, and we're at the precipice of the next transition. But the difference is, this isn't a transition from paper to plastic, and this isn't a transition from plastic to digital and to online. This transition is a transition from centralization over to what we call decentralized finance, or DeFi for short. In other words, the transformation that we're in the middle of right now is as big of a transformation as the Federal Reserve itself in 1913. In fact, I think one could argue that the Federal Reserve is going to have a hard time competing with DeFi. That's what you're going to see today, okay? So let's talk about DeFi banking. What's so special about decentralized finance and DeFi banking? Well, number one, it's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You don't have to worry about those pesky banking hours. And if you do happen to have a bank that's open on the weekend, they usually don't transfer money because they're closed on the weekend everywhere else, right? Not in the world of DeFi. In DeFi banking, it's open 24/7. Your transactions pretty much go through basically instantaneously. You know, there might be a little bit of delay, but nothing like what you see in the traditional banking system. And so we can do business around the clock, around the world, throughout the week, over and over again. Pretty big benefit, right? But let's talk about more of that. Let's talk about the real world application. The real world application of Bitcoin was really difficult for most of the lifetime of Bitcoin, for the last 15 years. But now what we're seeing with DeFi banking, you can spend your cryptocurrency like normal money. There's now this whole move that you're seeing where we can swipe a debit card and it pulls it straight from your crypto balance. Boom, you can pay for your coffee. Boom, you can pay for your groceries. People often say, you know, hey, one day we're going to be having to go back to a gold standard, or we're going to be carrying silver. And people are saying, I can't go to Kroger and buy milk with shaved off pieces of silver. No, you can't. It's not practical for that. And because of the fiat currency, the US dollar is losing its power. And this is the case around the world. That's the whole argument for crypto, right? But the problem with crypto is what? It's hard. It's hard to actually use it somewhere. Until now, DeFi banking is making it so that we can spend crypto like normal money. And folks, that's a game changer. Now, here's another big game changer. For all of these years, banks have paid you penance. Like they pay you literally, you know, a 1%, maybe 2% a year. So you store $1,000 or $10,000 or $100,000 in your bank and they get to use it. They lend it out for fractional reserve lending and all sorts of stuff. But how much they pay you? Maybe 1, maybe 2% a year. Well, today with DeFi banking, guess what's transforming? What's transforming is the power's coming back to the people. And these DeFi banking systems, depending on which one you're looking at, are actually paying you to use your money, to put it to work, and they're paying you fantastic returns, the kind of returns that historically have only been reserved for Wall Street and institutional insiders. Now, I make a big deal here that it's not all of them, because there's a race right now. We're going to talk about that in a minute. There's a race for banks and for DeFi systems to take over the world. And some of them are not backed by the good guys, or we'll just say they're backed by the institutions. And guess what those institutions want to do? They want to put their stamp of the last 100 years on it and say, we're only going to pay you 1%. We're only going to pay you 2%. And then you got the other guys, the guys that are true crypto purists, and they're coming in, they're saying, no, we're giving the power back to the people. And so that's one of the cool things that's happening right now is we're seeing the landscape change. So shared banking profits with you. Another benefit of DeFi banking, you're in control. You are in control the entire time. And guess what? You know, if you go to a traditional bank and you say, hey, I want you to invest my money for me, what are they going to do? They're going to hand it over to one of their professional advisors, and they're going to be safe with it, do all the stuff they do. They're going to give you maybe 3%, maybe 5%, and tell you, hey, good job. Look at that. You grew at 5%. Not enough to outrun inflation, but more than our savings account, right? And half the time they lose your money. Well, guess what? With DeFi banking, we can now put into effect, we can put into use artificial intelligence and automation, and it can do the investing for you. It can do the compounding and the financial growth for you without having to trust a human being. So in other words, I like to say it this way. DeFi banking is basically turning banking into what we always thought it should have been, where somebody's custodian your money, but in exchange for that, they're actually giving you usage. They're really giving you a good benefit for letting them take control of your money. Before now, it hasn't been available. But now with DeFi, with decentralized finance, with all the stuff that's going on, it's becoming available to people like you. All right. So here's where we are right now in 2026. DeFi has gone mainstream. This is the year. Crypto is now mature. It's 15 years or more in the make. For first, Bitcoin came on the market 2009. So we're a little over 15 years, 17 years since crypto came on to the scene. Ethereum, these smart contracts, all this crypto infrastructure that's been being built for the last 15 years, it's mature now. Not only is crypto mature, artificial intelligence and automation is mature for the first time. Okay, so now we've got all this technology that's coming together. And last year, something big happened. Donald Trump signed the Genius Act in 2025. It was about June or July, right? People have no idea how big this thing was, because what it did is it gave us some regulatory framework for these things we call stable coins. You didn't realize how big it was, but that stablecoin framework, what it did is it set the stage. It was kind of the green light for all these DeFi companies to say, okay, here we go. Now we can create our DeFi banking systems. And here we are. It's 2026. It's a few months later, and we are seeing it spread like wildfire. There's a couple more pieces of legislation we're waiting to come through. So you still have some different parts of the world where not everything is opened up yet, but it's coming. And it's coming very, very fast. So this is the time. And what you're seeing right now is it's a race. It's a race to grab land in the space of fintech. That's financial technology. In the space of DeFi. And it's specifically in the space of what we call neo-banking or new banks. Okay? So it's a race. Everybody's going crazy. Everybody's looking for the big thing. And here's the cool thing. I got one that's really cool I want you to look at. There's one in particular that I really like. There's actually a few that are out there that I think are really good. But this one is the best thing I've ever seen before. I can't believe I get to share it with you. In fact, I like it so much that I decided I would be a partner with them, and I'm sharing it with the world. So you're one of the people that I'm sharing it with. The name of this group is called Aurum. You can find it at aurum.foundation. And what's great about Aurum, this is a fintech-based AI company, fintech/AI. What does that mean? It means it's financial technology meets artificial intelligence, but it's built for the masses, not the institutions. It's not built for Wall Street. It's built for you. And more importantly, what it's doing is it's making it accessible. Decentralized finance. It's making it accessible to everybody. Stuff that up until now has been reserved for sophisticated investors and insiders on Wall Street is now available to you. All right, so let me put it into one screen for you. If this is the only thing you take about Aurum, understand this. Aurum is the ecosystem. It's a collection of several innovative financial products which allow end users to experience the extraordinary upside of digital finance without the need to have a deep understanding of how it works. That's what Aurum is. When you hear me refer to Aurum, I'm talking about a company that is an ecosystem of financial products. Okay, so I'm not talking about one product. We're going to look at one here in just a moment, but I'm not talking about just one product. I'm talking about the ecosystem. It's the bank. It's not a traditional bank. It's a DeFi bank. Okay, it's a DeFi neo bank, and they're coming in and they're creating this new technology and making it available to people like you and me. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Aurum. Number one, Aurum is a team of over 35 top-tier professionals with extensive experience in finance, blockchain, and AI-driven trading, bringing this expertise from leading global companies like Binance, Morgan Stanley, OKX Exchange, Wise, BetGet, and IBM. Okay, this is a mature team. The average experience on this team is 12 years in the space. There's a team of data analysts, software developers, financial analysts, and all of this is led by this man right here, Mr. Brian Benson. You say, who is Brian Benson? You may not know Brian, but Brian is an industry veteran. This guy's been working with Web3 for almost 30 years. This is the man who took Binance, if you know the biggest crypto exchange in the world, he took Binance to South America. And the year that Binance hit $1 billion, this guy drove 20% of that revenue by himself from South America. That is pretty extraordinary. And guess what? Even though he's no longer working at Binance, he still has all those relationships, and he has a very good relationship with them for this project he's working on here at Aurum. And Binance is a big supporter of what Brian is doing. Now, it's not just Brian Benson. He's got an entire team of people, and I don't have time to go through all these people, but you can find it on their website over at aurum.foundation. It is a mature team. It is an experienced team, and it's a team that I believe we can trust. All right? Now, let's look at a couple of achievements here. A couple big achievements, over 22 million in trading volume. They've launched a full 5 of their products for their product suite. Over $10 million is being traded in their AI arbitrage bots, and over 7,500 customers right now. And by the way, this is an older slideshow, so that number's way, way higher now. But all these customers are using the Aurum platform and the Aurum technology. Now, before I get into the actual products, I want to give you a quick disclaimer. You know that this is meant to share information about this project, and you shouldn't take it as specific financial advice or guarantees of results. All of those financial decisions carry risk, and your outcome is obviously going to depend on your skills, your market understanding, and your risk tolerance, okay? So this information is provided for informational purposes only, and you need to decide what you can actually justify and do with your own investments. But with that said, I want to show you some of the cool things that Arum is doing. And like I said earlier, Arum is a suite of fintech products. It's not just one product that they've put out there, but it's a whole bunch of them. And we're going to look at some of these right now. But you can see on the screen here just several of the products that they are developing. They've got this XAI bot that we're going to look at. They've got the Neo Banking. They've got the Zeus bot. They've got the cards, the debit cards. They have their own token, of course. They have their flash loans. They have the entire Arum network. They've got an exchange that they're building out. They do staking. And you get access, or a person who wants to get involved with Arum, you can have access to all these products for only $19 a year, $19.99 a year. It's incredible. That's cheaper than your typical banking fees. If you go to your local bank, I know my bank, depending on what kind of account it is, they may charge you $10 a month, or they might charge you $20 a month. It just depends on what it is that they're serving you as. Well, here you get the entire suite of products for just $20 a year. Now, with that said, I want to show you one in particular. It's kind of their flagship product. It's marked here as number one, the Arum XAI bot. The reason I want to start here is, like I say, it's the flagship product. And what this does is this is a AI, it's an artificial intelligence bot, that means it's automated, where it fully runs on its own a trading system designed to maximize profitability in the cryptocurrency market. Leveraging AI to analyze real-time charts, it operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to make strategic, low-risk spot trades on your behalf. Now, folks, let me translate that. If you know me, and if you know me for very long, I've been teaching people to trade for 17 years now. Actually, Bitcoin and my trading education journey have the same birthday. We both started in 2009. So however long Bitcoin's been around, that's how long I've been teaching people to trade stocks and options and futures and Forex and now cryptocurrency. So I've been in this industry for a long time. Most of that type of trading that I teach people is what we call discretionary trading. And everybody always wants to know, how can I just set it and forget it and get all the great rewards? Well, up until now, that's not really been possible. But what's so cool is now the technology has caught up. And this XAI bot is the best I've ever seen. It's literally as simple as just put some money in it and let it run. And it's been running since February of 2023 with pretty extraordinary results. In fact, the average, if you can see it in the third box on the bottom here, the proven returns says 1.5 years. It's been running since February 2023. So you can do the math. That's more than a year and a half. The average return is 17.5%. Now you think 17.5%, that's pretty good. It would be. I mean, compared to traditional banking results, 17.5% is amazing. But that's not annual. That's 17.5% per month. 17.5% return on your capital every month. That's why I say this is extraordinary. Now, a lot of people might look at that and think, oh, that's sensational. That's not realistic. I know how you're feeling there. Listen, because I've been in this industry for a long time and I know what trading can really do, and I certainly have seen all the different sides of it, I promise you this is actually very realistic. In fact, if you're sitting here doing arbitrage, I've done arbitrage across exchanges where I'll make 20% in an evening. It's not hard to get 20% in a month. That's actually not hard at all. The hard thing is to be able to consistently do it over and over with verifiable, consistent results. For a human being, it's difficult to do, but for a bot and for artificial intelligence, it's not. And that's what Arum has pulled together here, okay? So let me show you how it works. Whenever you decide that you want to put some money into the XAI bot, if you put as little as $100, that's all you have to start with is $100. You can see it right here. And you're going to get 60% of the profit. They're going to put it into the bot. They're going to run it. You're going to get 60% of the profit. They're going to get 40%. If you put $250 in here, moving over to the second square, if you put $250 or more into the bot, then you're going to get 65% of that profit, and the company is going to keep 35%. You can see every time you kind of notch up, if you put $1,000 into the bot, you're going to get to keep 70% of the profit that bot makes with your $1,000. If you put $2,500 in, you get 75%, and it just goes on and up. on and on up until you get over 50,000. When you put $50,000 or more into the XAI bot, you're going to get to keep 95% of the profit. And what do you think that works out to? Well, the math is right here. If you put over $50,000 in, you're going to get an average return of 16.6% on a monthly basis. Now, I say average. Some days, I'm going to be honest, we get better results than that. And some days it's not quite as good. But for the most part, you're going to average about 16%. It's pretty extraordinary. And you know what? That's why I think if anybody just takes the time to look at it, they have to at least consider that this is a pretty good idea, and maybe we should see what we can do with it. All right. I want to show you a couple of calculations here. We're going to come over. I'm showing you right now the back end of the website. When I first loaded this up, I just put a couple $100 in here just to see what I could do with it. And all you need to do is go to the XAI bot, and you come down here and you just create a deposit. But I want to show you, if you can see this calculator right here. I don't think I can zoom in on it. Maybe I can. Let's see if I can zoom in on this. Let's see. No, that didn't do it. No, that didn't do it either. I think I can do it here. Yeah, look at that. I did. I zoomed in on it. Check that out. All right, so if you come in here, and let's say that you had $1,000 and you wanted to get started with $1,000. All you do is, let's say we run this investment for a year, and you hit calculate, and look at this. After 1 year, you're going to have $1,470. Now, let me help you understand that. That's $1,470 of profit. Your total is going to be $2,470 because you started with $1,000. It's $1,470 of profit. Averaged out across the course of the year, that's 147%. Sounds crazy, right? But that's the benefit of AI. That's the benefit of these bots that we have running. Now, what if we were to take those profits, and every day as we generate profits, what if we rolled it right back in? What if we were to not just take the profit out, but what if we were to reinvest it? Well, look here in their little calculator, you can flip a little button and say, what if I compounded this? And if we did that same $1,000 over the course of a year, instead of $1,400 in profit, you end up with $4,509 in profit. Whoa! I mean, check that out, folks. $1,000 put aside into a banking system like what Arum's developing and letting it run with their bots and just let it go. A year from now, if you compounded that, $4,000 turns into $4,509. That is extraordinary. What if you let it run for 2 years? Could we do that? What if we let it run for 2 years? Well, let's just click the button here. We'll change it to 2 years. And if you compounded it over 2 years, it would turn into $25,293. Your $1,000 turns into $25,000 in 2 years. What if you did it over 3 years? Did it over 3 years, it turns into $178,000. What? I'm telling you, folks, I have 3 kids at home. 2 of them are about to leave home. They're getting older. One of them, we still have some time with her. But I was looking at these numbers. I was like, for my oldest son, if I got 2 years left with him. If I put $1,000 in here for him and I just let it run, he could leave home in 2 years already with a $25,000 account. And if I just let it run, what would that be worth for him? So, of course, I did the numbers, right? So I figure, what if I ran $1,000 for 2 years for my oldest son, let it compound? He'd have $25,293. And then what if I said, okay, we're going to stop compounding it, and we're just going to let it generate a profit every year off that $25,000, and he would be creating $47,000 a year in interest, in passive income. Well, we won't call it interest. It's really yield, but we'll call it yield over the course of a year. That's almost $4,000 a month. What an amazing gift that I could give my child. And you can play with these numbers however you want to. There's no limit. I mean, you could start with $100. You could start with $1,000. You could start with $10,000. You can start with $50,000. You can start with $100,000. You can put as much in here as you want to, but you can start playing with the numbers. You don't need to put your life savings in here. I'm not suggesting anything like that. I am saying that, it's compelling enough that at least anybody would want to take a look and say, maybe, just maybe, it's worth thinking about. Well, you can think about that. Let me show you a couple of the details of how it works. This is what we call the operating regulations here. And you know what? Before I do that, how about I go back over here and figure out how I zoom out, because that's kind of important for you to be able to see this. All right. So here's how it works. 0% commission for deposits. 0% I said commission. I didn't mean that. 0% fees. 0% for activation fee. And when you do decide that you're going to pull it out, there's a 1% withdrawal fee. Now, you see this 35%. Here's the key. This is a termination fee. If you terminate your initial deposit before 12 months is up, 1 year, you have 1 year that they're asking for you to leave it deposited. If you terminate it in less than a year, it's going to charge you a 35% interest. After a year, 0. That's it right there, right? So nothing to deposit, nothing to activate, 1% when you decide to withdraw, 35% if you end it early. If you leave it in for a year, there is no fee. Simple enough, okay? That's how it works. Folks, I think the XAI bot is one of the most exciting things that I have ever seen in the world of crypto. Like I say, ARM is developing an incredible suite of products. Another one that I want to share with you, another product that's really, really cool, that really makes ARM different, is their bank card. So let me share that with you. They just simply call it the ARM card. And what the ARM card does is it gives you instant access to your funds. Now, I'm not talking about your bank funds. I'm talking about your crypto funds, right? We haven't had this kind of access before. Yeah, there's some that are out there that kind of do a wonky job. I'm going to show you here in just a minute, though. Imagine that you have your crypto wallet tied to a debit card, and you can take that debit card to any Starbucks. You can take it to any grocery store. You can take it to Walmart, Target, anywhere that you like to do your day-to-day shopping, your day-to-day life, and you can swipe that crypto debit card instead of your traditional banking debit card. Imagine that world. That's the world that ARM makes possible with their Neo banking. All right, so take a look at this. Instant access to your funds, fully integrated with Neobank. You can manage the card directly in your Neobank interface, which I'm going to show you in just a moment. It supports Apple Pay and Google Pay. You can spend up to $100,000 a month with no hidden restrictions. Isn't that cool? Now, I know you've got to be thinking, okay, what is this? What's going on here? So let me show you this. We're just going to click around until we get to the Neo banking. And what you're going to notice here, this is an app that they are building out. It is going to become an iPhone app and a Google Android app. My understanding is they actually already have the Android app almost fully ready to launch. But right now, this was their kind of proof of work or proof of product that they built inside Telegram. And what you see in here is you notice that you've got a wallet. And if you scroll down, you'll see all of these cryptocurrencies. You can load up your Polygon, your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, your Pepe, and you can spend it from within your bank. Now check this out. All you need to do is get yourself an ARM card and you activate it. It's a one-time purchase of $249, no KYC, and after that, you get to spend directly from your from your crypto. Isn't that awesome? Now check this out. I got distracted with the AI because I was looking at a bot. I've already shared with you the XAI bot. I've shared with you how you can put money in the XAI bot and it just turns profit for you and you get an incredible yield. But I did say one little hiccup there. It's tied up for a year. What if you could also get great yield on money that's not tied up? Inside this app with the Neo banking, you can. And I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but I just want to share with you really fast here and show you that inside this app, you click on the trading bot and you can choose any of these pairs and start the trading bot, and it doesn't have a lockup period. This is a bot that will run. It will actually invest and give you a yield for your money that you need access to fairly quickly. And if you decide you need access to it, you just stop the bot, you transfer it over, and boom, there you are. No penalties, no fees. All right there, ready for you to work with. Now, how cool is that? Now, here's the deal. It doesn't pay quite as much yield as the XAI bot does, but it still pays almost 10% a month. So imagine, let's say that you keep a balance in your bank of $1,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 a month, and imagine you were just getting an extra 8 to 10% a month just sitting there while you're waiting to spend it. How cool would that be? That's what decentralized finance and neobanking is making possible in today's world. It's truly a game changer, and that's why I'm excited to partner with them. It's why it's super exciting. So speaking of which, There is a partner program at ARM. That's what I decided to join. It's what I decided to become part of. And what I want to share with you is if you also are interested in doing that, I'm trying to get my slides back up here. If you're interested in doing that, then it's something I'll be happy to talk with you about. The partner program at ARM is actually the final piece that puts it over the top, because what they're doing is they're letting people like you and me share it with our friends and family. And we become partners, we become referral partners and network partners, whatever you want to call it, where other people get to learn about this new landscape of banking. So if that's something you're interested in, I'll be happy to chat with you about it. But even if you don't want to tell anybody about it, if you want to keep it yourself and say, I got this little secret over here, great. If you want to learn more, all you need to do is reach out and let's have a conversation. If you're finding this on one of my social media channels, maybe it's on my Facebook group, or maybe it's on Telegram or somewhere else, reach out, let's chat. Send me an email, jeremy@jeremywhaley.com, or perhaps somebody has shared this video with you and maybe they don't even know me, because that happens. People that I don't even know share my videos, and that's kind of cool. It's flattering, but you know what? If somebody else shared it with you, just reach out to them and say, hey, tell me more about this ARM thing. What do I need to do to get started? Because here's what I know, folks. The future's here. We've seen it. The last 2 years, you've seen AI come on the market. It has completely transformed the landscape of all that we know about computing, right? It is changing the future of everything. The workforce in the next 2 to 3, 5 years is going to completely turn over in ways we've never imagined before. And one of the areas that it's hitting is finance. I mean, this is my specialty. This is what I've done for the last 20 years is finance. And guess what? It's changing. So I have two choices, just like everybody else. I could just pretend it's not going to happen and sit by and watch it all just move right on by, or I could embrace it. And that's what I've chosen to do. I'm embracing it. And I'm excited about it because when I look at DeFi and I look at crypto and I look at what it's doing for the world, I see it taking down the big institutions and putting power and opportunity back in the hands of the little guy. That's what I've always been about. That's what I know you're about as well. So I love ARM for that purpose. Is this the final ultimate neo bank that we're all going to say that's the one? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But right now I'm excited about it. It's paying me great. We've been able to make some really great yield with it. We haven't been working with it very long, but like I say, we're super excited about it. Companies based out of Hong Kong. They've got offices in Dubai and Singapore. You've already seen they've got an incredible team. Look, if you want to talk about it, all you need to do is reach out. Let's have that conversation. All right. Thanks for watching, folks. I wish you the best. Hope you have a great day. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon.